I had a dream that night. I believe it was a dream. In the dream, I woke up lying beside a creek in a patch of grass, surrounded by various wildflowers. A bare spot in front of me led down to the water. I could see the waterway in both directions from where I was lying. Behind me was a sparse forest. Although thin, there were several kinds of summer fruit trees mixed in with evergreens, all standing behind a patch of blueberry and huckleberry bushes. Several bird nests covered 2 small trees by the side of the berries. One small yellow and gray finch flew up to one of the nests. Immediately, 3 little heads popped up, begging to eat. She fed them and was off again, hunting. Then, I noticed half of both trees were covered with climbing purple clematis. The flowers were in full bloom and were managed by a group of large black bumblebees. I remembered whenever I saw purple flowers in early spring, they always attracted those large black bumblebees. They were the first bees I saw in spring. Now, they were buzzing from flower to flower as they gathered nectar, accompanied by the sound of birds singing in the background. I lay there for a while, listening and watching. I felt comfortable even though I was lying on the ground. Fortunately, it was a warm, pleasant evening. In the distance, I heard children laughing. I sat up and looked downstream where 4 children were playing in the water. One of them turned my way and pointed at me. They laughed and waved. I must have seemed out of place. I smiled and waved back. Soon after, a vehicle appeared out of the sky and landed next to them. A young woman, I assumed their mother, got out, and told the children it was time to go. The children turned and waved goodbye as they left. Afterward, it darted away, disappearing back into the sky. I looked around while thinking, what a beautiful landscape. I stood to my feet to get a better look. There was a dirt path leading upstream beside the water. So, I followed it until it came to another path, crossing the one I was on. That path was carpeted with well-manicured grass and lined on both sides with all kinds of wildflowers. Most I did not recognize. I took the path to the right. It led to a small bridge stretching over the waterway. Once across the bridge, I noticed a golden city up ahead. It reached to the sky and glistened like precious stones in the light of the setting sun. It drew my breath. I felt compelled to go there. As I made my way towards the city, I came across an open field on my right. It was covered with those same wildflowers. I noticed another group of young children off in the distance coming down a hill picking wishes, blowing them into the air. Each child was so full of life, skipping, talking to one another, laughing, and coming in my direction. All the while, a tremendous feeling welled up inside me. The closer the children got, the more my heart swelled in my chest. A little girl who seemed oblivious to anything other than those flowers, ran up and put her arms out. I bent over to pick her up. She kissed me on the cheek. "Hi, Daddy." I kissed her on the forehead. "Hi, sweetheart." I braced myself to keep from falling over backward when the rest of the children ran up hugging me, dragging me down to my knees. My arms could not reach around all of them. I didn't even question how or why this was happening. As I hugged them and held them close, all 5 of my children, I grabbed Keith, who died on Earth many years back. It seemed like yesterday, and I held him so tight it hurt. I told him, I'll never let go. I still miss him. I cried with joy. 4 of my children were grown, but here they were as young children hugging, holding me like when they were young. "I love you," I kept saying. Each child said it back. Also, I saw it in their eyes. I was incapable of doing any more than holding them, telling each one I love you over and over. "I love you, Keith, I miss you son," every day. "Jesse, I still remember you this way, so full of joy with such incredible energy. I love you. Casey, you have always been so independent. I wish you hadn't moved away. It's good to have you here with me. I love you. Crystal, I missed so much of your life. I thought of you daily through many tears. I love you. Sophie, I promised to never forget you. I kept my promise. I'll always keep my promises. I don't know why, but she always worried I would forget her. I will always love you, sweetheart." With the glance, A simple comment. I knew it was time for them to go. While leaving, Casey said, "We will wait for you, Dad." I wondered what he meant, but for whatever reason, it seemed right. It seemed natural. In the same fashion, they went back the same way, running, skipping, laughing, picking flowers, and blowing wishes into the wind. My heart went with them, for sure. As my kids reached halfway through the field, they were no longer children. They were adults. Just then, another group of children came over the hill, running towards them, joining them. They were my grandchildren. I shouted as loud as I could, "Praise the living God. I love you." Well, that's what I said. When I saw how loving my kids were with their own children, it gave me an incredible burst of joy within my heart. I wanted to go with them. We could live together forever. It was the most important feeling I have ever had. I felt a rush of energy, and I ran after them, and I would have caught up until I heard a voice behind me. It stopped me in my tracks. It was Keith's voice, and he was standing behind me. He was no longer a child, but a teenage boy of 15. The age he was when he died. "You can't go. It's not the right time." I didn't know how to respond and knew no matter what I said, he was right, and it hurt. It caused me to become like a dumb man, unable to think or talk. I stood staring as they disappeared over the hill. Turning to Keith, I said, "I would have gone with them. I want to go with them, still. What do I do now?" He put his arm down on my shoulder, being much taller than I, and said, "Come on. Let's go." I put my arm around him as he led me towards the city. "Write the story, Father. Write it for their sakes." I struggled back to my senses. I let it sink in and turned my attention to the city. What city is up ahead? It's the city of God. Are we going there? Considering your condition, you can't go there yet, but I hoped we could walk together for a moment. There was a pause. I missed you so much. I still miss you. I know. This is so much to take in. I don't know if I can handle it. You'll be fine, Dad. You'll be fine because this is where you belong. Everything is going according to plan. Keith, am I dead? No, but remember, anything is possible. You must have faith. We walked for a while, talking about how things went on Earth after he died. I did most of the talking. I explained how it was the hardest period in my life, how I got mad at God for a time. It took God a while to get my attention. He said, "I'm grateful God got your attention. It's one thing to lose someone on earth, and it's so much worse to lose them here in heaven. I have been and will continue waiting for that day when we will all be together in God's kingdom. Please keep fighting and praying for the rest of our family. I have every intention of doing so. I know." Then he turned, hugged me, and walked away. When he did, he faded away as if walking into a heavy mist. I watched him until he disappeared, took one more look at the city, and turned back the way we came. However, once I was next to the field, I took off running. I yelled, "Come back! Please come back!" hoping the kids would turn around. I ran so hard, I was out of breath, my lungs hurt, my legs hurt. By the time I got to the top of the hill, I could barely move. Just on the other side of the hill was a large white mansion. It had columns all across the front. I fell at the first step leading up to the porch. I laid there until I had enough strength to move forward. It was like I was being held back. Every forward move was constrained. Finally, I opened the door, which led to a long hallway. The hall ended at a family room with the kitchen to the right. I looked at the kitchen counters and noticed they were full of jelly sandwiches. I thought about how Sophie didn't like peanut butter. All of them were half-eaten. I heard a noise to my left where stairs led to a second floor. I went up to a sitting room surrounded by several bedroom doors. I opened the first. It was Crystal's room. I could tell that it was a little girl's room, just like the one I imagined for her. It was quite neat. She was probably very detailed in all that she did. There was a desk next to her bed with papers on top. I walked over to see that she had been writing poetry, a little girl's poetry. I went into the next room, where 3 beds were situated on 3 of the walls. This was the boys' room. It was big, even for 3 boys. It was a mess, and I wondered if those boys would ever change. Next, I entered Sophie's room. It was full of stuffed animals. It was also a mess. Clothes were everywhere. She was so funny in that she didn't care what she wore, but it took her several attempts to do that. The kids were not there. Even though I heard a noise from upstairs, no one was around. I returned to the family room and looked out the back door leading to the backyard. There they were, playing in the backyard. Just as I was going to open the door, I heard a voice behind me. It was Keith's voice, again. "Father, what are you doing here?" "I don't want to go back. I want to stay here." "You can't stay here. This isn't real." "Then how am I here, if I can't be here?" "You're dreaming." "That's how?" "Your desire to be here is reflected in your dream, but you're not really here. You have to wake up and finish your story, for the sake of others, for our sakes." "Can't someone else write the story?" "This is how I want my story to end." "No, Father. I understand how you feel. Please, be strong for the sake of the story." Despite my desperation to stay, I knew he was right, and I hated knowing that in time, I will come back here, one day. "All right, son, I know in my heart, you're right. I love you, Dad." I stepped towards the front door and woke up. I noticed the morning sunbeams falling through the trees outside the window. It was everything I expected. I laid there while contemplating the dream. It was amazing to be with my children. I longed for it again, but I knew there was a different path for me. Under my breath, I whispered to God, "Take me back, please. I want to stay there forever." After all that, and surprisingly, I wasn't sad when I woke up. I wondered if the dream was because of last night. Did it relate to the time I spent at the small green and white cottage? What a contrast. It made me happy to dream of the kids, especially Keith. Since the day he died, I've dreamed many dreams about him. Those dreams always made me sad. I was not sad this morning. I recalled one dream of a small puppy, abandoned by his owners who moved away. The family left him by himself. He lived under the back porch of the house, and the backyard was fenced in. The house remained vacant. When he heard a noise, he'd come running out with his tail wagging, hoping someone came for him. No one ever came. After a time, he gave up hope of anyone ever coming to take him home. In the middle of the dream, I saw myself standing on the back porch calling to him. He came running out. He didn't turn to look at me because it happened in his mind too many times. I remembered, while he ran to the back fence, while I was trying to get his attention, I understood his brokenness. The hope he once knew wasn't there anymore. Again, he believed no one would come for him. As he reached the back fence, he turned to stare in my direction. He stared right past me as if I was not there. When he turned, he was no longer a puppy. He was my son at the age of 3. He'd gone insane from a broken heart. I woke up crying. I cried whenever I was alone for a long time after that dream. This time, I was not miserable. In fact, it lifted my spirit. I guess my sadness was changing to hope. I never have been one to cry in many situations. Perhaps getting older has changed me. I know that when he died, I was in a bad place in my life. Somehow, it broke me in unexpected ways, but over time God has been healing me. Now, especially after my dream, I am confident things will work out. Despite my renewed confidence, I still have to say, where my kids are concerned, I'll always wear my heart on my sleeve. I looked around the living room, certain I was not dreaming now. What to do, I didn't know. So, I laid on my comfortable bed and gazed at the morning sun dancing around the park outside my window.